Good day, guys. Welcome to Endurance Room. Hope you're all doing well. I'm out in the woods just doing a little day hiking, and I thought we could go over a couple things today with the Plash Palatka. A couple people have asked about how to connect multiples together, so I thought we could go over that and then set up a quick shelter. So give me a second. I'm going to clear off an area to set up, and then we'll get at it. All right, so I've got my two palatkas laid out in front of me here. And I've matched up the two sides that I want to connect. So they're just overlapping. These edges here, that's going to be the top end of the shelter. So the way this lays out, the armholes are going to be at the bottom of the shelter with the flap going down, so no water will run into it. Now all we need is some cordage. I've got some paracord here with a little bowline tied in the end of it and a toggle, and we're going to use the toggle to anchor off our cordage. You can start at the grommet, but it's not necessary because we're going to toggle this off at the top of our shelter today. So we're just going to start at the buttonhole, bottom layer first. I'm coming up through with the beginning of my bowline, and then I'm taking the top layer and doing the same thing on the corresponding hole. Grommets line up, we've got our paracord through, and then we just drop the toggle through. Lock it in place, and then all we're going to do is pull our paracord up through both layers, pulling it tight. Our toggle is locking our cordage in place, and then we're going to go over the top, down through both layers, and then repeat all the way out to the last buttonhole. Making sure my paracord is tight to the anchor. If you wanted to tie it off, you can just simply come back up through the preceding loop, over, up through. Your palatkas are secured. And that's all there is to it. It's not any more complicated than that. You can tie it off at the grommet holes, but today it's not necessary, and I'll show you in more detail as I get my shelter set up. But first I need to set up a tripod so we can suspend the palatkas. So I just trimmed off some of the dead branches on the pine trees and whittled off 6 stakes that are a little bit longer than I typically carry. I also have 3 saplings here to set up a tripod. They're about 9 feet in length. Sturdy enough. Now to suspend our palatkas, all we're going to do is take the tag that's hanging down from our tripod, put that through the grommet holes of both palatkas, and then use this toggle to anchor it off. Making a bite, folding it over into a clove hitch, dropping the toggle through, and we're anchored. I want to make a little bit of room at the back of the shelter. Here it is with it pulled taut. I've got a simple overhand knot locking it in, and I'm going to take the tag, keeping this section taut, just run around it a few times, and then I'm going to make a couple half hitches to lock it in place. That's it. Then with our 2 grommets, let's take our first stake. Then we just take the corners and stake them out. All right, so here we are, all suspended. All 4 corners have been staked out. as well as the midpoint at the back of the shelter. It's kind of like a half teepee, half lavoo shape. But as you see, as we come around to the back of the shelter, it's pretty low and flat to the ground. But that's a pretty easy fix with a couple of stakes. Got them rounded off on one end, points on the other end. So with those stakes in there, you get quite a bit more room on the inside. Right on. So just like that, with the fire out front, for an environment like this, I would definitely want to build something more substantial than this little campfire right here. This is good enough to heat up some water for coffee, maybe, you know, warm your hands up. But in an environment like this, you want a big fire that's going to burn throughout the night. So for that, I would go with a Siberian long fire, where you basically sandwich two logs together and put kindling in between them and build your fire between the logs, so it smolders, emanating heat all night. So it's really cool, and for colder environments, definitely worth knowing. As far as tying the palatkas together, I hope this helps for the people that are asking questions. It's really simple to do. Just drop a toggle through it and anchor it down, and then just alternate down the buttonholes. You get to see how I use that as a guy line to make a little bit more space at the back wall. And then I also showed you how I prop up the inside of the shelter with the stakes. So it's really simple, but it can come in handy when you're setting these up, even with a ridge line. That being said, with the tripod, if you run the tripod on the inside, you don't even need to worry about that. It will just maintain the tripod will maintain the form of your shelter. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you got any questions, just leave them down below and I'll get at you when I can. We still don't have any internet in the house. There's barely any cell phone service, so, you know, I'm lucky to see the comments, let alone respond to them right now until we get that sorted out. So hopefully in the next couple weeks we'll get that sorted, but right now we're still using our 100-watt solar system, and it's just enough to charge our phones and keep a light bulb on at night. But we're making do. We're having a good time, so I hope you are too. Catch you guys soon. Cheers.